Well, stepping up the pressure against Kurdish independence referendum, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps conducted military maneuvers in the northwest part of the country just a day ahead of Kurdistan's independence vote. Iran's airborne and missile units participated in the military exercise. Iran's leaders and media have expressed strong opposition to the Kurdish referendum. Countries which are likely to have borders with the proposed Kurdistan have warned of dire consequences. In fact, Turkey, Iran and Iraq are all considering countermeasures over Kurdish referendum. Prime Minister Binali Yildirim has said Turkey would take security, economic and political steps in response to the referendum. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, its spokesperson, described the referendum as a terrible mistake that would trigger new regional crisis. The United States and other Western powers, meanwhile, have also urged authorities in Kurdistan to cancel Monday's vote. They say the move distracts from the fight against the Islamic State. Meanwhile, the heads of the Turkish and Iraqi armed forces met on Saturday and discussed what they described as the illegitimate Iraqi Kurdish referendum. The two leaders stressed the importance of maintaining Iraq's territorial integrity. The Turkish army launched military exercises on Monday near the Habur border crossing to Iraq. Military sources say they were due to last until September 26th, the day after the planned vote. That's the latest coming in on this development. It seems that pressure is being stepped up against the referendum vote that is scheduled for tomorrow, because now the Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, they've participated in military maneuvers in the northwest part of the country, very close to the border with Iraq. WION's correspondent Maral Gholampour, she joins me live from Tehran for more on this. Maral, first up, tensions are already high in Iraq ahead of Sunday's vote. Now the annual war games, is this a message that Iran is sending out?
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, certainly. Iran has always been an ardent opponent to the planned independence vote in Kurdish area. So what has happened now? We just received two important news this morning. One is that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps conducted military maneuvers in northwest Iran. And following that, Iran closed borders with Kurdistan after well, basically, Iran was supposed to close aerial borders after the referendum. But what has happened? It has happened before the referendum even takes place, because Iranian officials have already said that separation from Iraq after the planned referendum would result in security and military agreements falling apart. And also, Mr. Shamkhani, who is this in Security Council in Iran, said that they would reconsider the method to address the exercise and movement of terrorist elements within the border. So what's going to happen within the next few days is that probably there is the risk that situation would become very volatile near Iranian borders following the referendum. And also what has happened this morning during the exercise and maneuver of the military corps, ground forces also were included. So I think it sends a very strong message to all neighboring countries.
Maral, yes, we're also hearing that Iran has also blocked all flights to and from Iraq's Kurdistan at the request of Baghdad. So it seems like at this point Iran is doing all that it can to, hamper Monday's vote then.
I personally don't think that there's much that Iran could do or any other country to influence the referendum happening, but they are taking safety measures. Like I said, it was not supposed to happen at this stage. It was supposed to happen tomorrow or the day after that. And yes, that's correct. It's basically on demand of Baghdad. So what has Iran said that when the Kurdistan becomes an autonomous region, then basically all of the security agreements are called off. So I think it makes a very important case for all the neighboring countries to take advantage of a vulnerable situation that Kurdish will be putting themselves into.
Iran is not alone, Maral, as we understand, because now Turkey and Iraq, they've been also upping the pressure. Clearly, they don't want the vote. They say that Kurdish exit would derail the fight against the Islamic State, particularly in North Iraq. But how far at this point do you think is Iran willing to go? We've already seen, two steps or 2 points that they've brought forward. One, the military exercises. The other is blocking people from flying to and fro from that region.
Yes, that's very true. You see, what's happening is that all the countries that share a border with Kurdistan, namely Iran, Iraq, and Turkey, they have formally said that they will take some measures, and they have considered terrorism measures in that area. But what's happening is that because Iranian northwest areas also occupied by some Kurdish people, and it would basically prompt them to maybe take some make some advances and take some measures, try to, I don't know, at some stage maybe join the Kurds of Iraq. So what's happening is that Mr. Pakpur, which is the head of the military in Iran, basically not the military but the ground forces in Iran, he has said that the main reason that they conducted the military exercise this morning is to clear the area from and this is a quote, from the villains and the elements which are against the Iranian regime. So I think it shows that there is something going on across the border, and Iranian regime is, I think, trying to take some precautionary measures.
Right, the countermeasures. All right, of course, wary of the regional implications of the referendum vote. Thanks so much, Maral, for joining us with a perspective from Tehran there.